Imagine this. You wake up after centuries, literally centuries, of deep sleep. You're violently ill, you're starving, totally out of it. And that feeling, that's just the start of your workday.
Yeah, it's quite the job description. Journeying the galaxy, only waking up to see if the latest civilization, seeded eons ago, has finally wiped itself out.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a story that really turns the whole idea of alien contact on its head. And it offers this, well, frankly, a pretty shocking answer to the Fermi Paradox. Where is everybody? Maybe they already came and went.
Exactly. Our mission here is to unpack the source material, pull out the surprising details, the profound implications. And believe me, it gets dark. It asks some really uncomfortable questions about existence itself.
So let's meet our main characters, Jon and Toku. They're interstellar scouts for a race called the Falshi.
And their routine is, well, bleak sounds about right. They go into something called interdream, sleep for 1,000 years, wake up, check the cosmic scorecard, see who's achieved closure.
Jon's wake-up sounds particularly awful, like a day of vomiting, desperate hunger pangs, and the ship's computer, Instigator, is already spitting out data before he can even, get his bearings.
He doesn't even get a cup of coffee first. And usually, the discoveries are depressingly predictable. They find evidence of technological civilizations followed swiftly by closure.
And closure isn't subtle. It means they nuked the hell out of themselves. Nothing like
Nothing. As the source says, nothing happens afterwards, ever again. It's supposed to be total. The civilization is meant to be a memory before the Falshi even log its existence.
Okay, so standard procedure. But then Instigator reports the usual radiation traces, but also cultural emissions. That's normal, right? Signals and stuff.
Echoes of a civilization. But here's the kicker. The report says the cultural emissions appear to have continued for some time following the closure.
Ah, and Jon immediately flags that. That's not supposed to happen. Why is that such a fundamental problem for them?
Because it breaks the model. Their entire galactic operation, this whole system of seeding and waiting, it relies on that 100% self-destruction rate. Cultural emissions, radio, TV, whatever, continuing after the nuclear apocalypse. It means they didn't die out. Not completely.
It's an anomaly. Unprecedented.
Totally. And Jon, he immediately starts theorizing, okay, maybe they had a small closure, kept going, kept making culture, then, finished themselves off later. Maybe disease, climate collapse.
He figures they all end the same way, eventually. But Toku, she's having none of it.
Nope. Toku is Jon's boss, his partner, and she's strictly by the book. She just shuts it down. That doesn't happen. Her view is they probably held on for a little while, then finished up. End of story.
It really shows how baked in their expectations are. Decades, centuries of seeing the same pattern.
Absolutely. Toku represents the system, the accepted reality.
Yeah.
Jon seems a little more open to the universe throwing a curveball, even if he still expects the worst outcome eventually.
So they argue about this for months as the ship travels. And get this, Instigator. The AI. It struggles so much with Earth languages. It thinks Spanish and Mandarin are one thing called Espanol.
It highlights how alien Earth really is to their experience. Anyway, they finally get into orbit. And sure enough, ruined cities, radiation everywhere, looks like closure.
But the sensors are also picking up definite electromagnetic impulses and actual people.
There it is, the contradiction. Visual evidence screams closure, but the electronic signs scream life. How do you square that? It challenges everything they thought they knew.
They zoom in, there's a huge settlement on an island or maybe a small continent, but it's not like spread out, it's one structure.
Yeah, a spire, described like a giant worship spike covered in millions of lights, and they immediately interpret that glowing tip.
Hierarchy. Leaders at the top. It's interesting how fast they jump to that conclusion based on architecture.
It is. And they even describe the eventual inhabitants, the Earths, as looking like miniature hierarchies themselves, elongated bodies, heads held high. Maybe it's projection, seeing patterns they understand from their own society.
So, faced with this living civilization, something that should not exist according to their rules, Toku starts running the options. Option 1, just leave. But finding another prospect could take thousands of years.
Option 2, wait it out, sit in orbit for, hundreds of years until they finally die off properly.
Option 3, go back into interdream, sleep until they're gone. But Jon looks down at the planet, sees the resources, and actually says, how dare they still be alive?
That's such a telling line, isn't it? It's not wonder, it's annoyance. The planet looks tasty looking, a potential asset, and these stubborn survivors are messing up the schedule. Humanity is an inconvenient line item.
So Toku makes a decision, a compromise, sort of, level 2 interdream, a shallower sleep. Wake up gently in maybe 1,000 years when the Earths are definitely gone.
Seems prudent.
Yeah.
But Jon, he does something else. Secretly.
He fiddles with instigators' wake-up parameters. Make sure they'll wake up even if, quote, the bastards haven't snuffed it by then. He just had a feeling. Or maybe just morbid curiosity.
And that small act of insubordination, messing with the settings, it changes everything. It goes against Toku, against protocol, driven by this.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe curiosity, maybe something deeper he doesn't understand himself. It pulls them way off script.
Because just as they're prepping for sleep, alarms, external contact monitor.
Damn. A message from the surface in English.
And the message itself is, well, it's something. Identifies as non-aggro, but also mentions they can defend themselves, even threatens a radioactive projectile, and then finishes by welcoming a peaceful alliance.
Talk about mixed messages. Hello, we come in peace.
Yeah.
Also, we have nukes pointed at you. Welcome to Earth.
Huh. Toku's response is pure Falshi protocol. Instructs instigator. Tell them we're from another star, survey mission, peaceful, no desire to interact, leaving soon. Basically, please go away.
A standard operating procedure for dealing... Well, usually they deal with ruins, not actual talking civilizations.
But Earth doesn't send a projectile. They launch a vessel up towards the Falshi ship.
And Jon feels that weird sensation again. Curiosity. He connects it to that awful hunger and nausea he gets when waking up. A craving for something new.
Toku, meanwhile, just sighs, wishing for their usual 100% fatality rate. Oh, the difference between them.
That's stark, isn't it? Jon's drawn towards the anomaly, the unexpected. Toku just wants the universe to follow the damn rules so they can get paid and go home. Any deviation is just stressful. Existentially stressful.
The Earth vessel docks. 3 figures emerge, led by someone called Reynolds. Jon and Toku find them physically silly. Those elongated bodies, the heads elevated over everything else.
Yeah.
Back to that hierarchy idea.
Yeah, they see hierarchy everywhere. And Reynolds introduces himself. They're from Sydney. They serve John Dorf, who runs a profit-making enterprise called Dorfco.
Dorfco. Okay, so Earth survived by incorporating.
Apparently. And they express this optimism faith, saying they've waited so long for contact, you can almost feel the hope coming off them.
And then Jon, against protocol, Toku's probably glaring daggers at him. He just taps out a message on his console. Impulsively.
What does he say?
He sends, "We made lots of others, just like you, but you're the first ones we've found alive."
Oh my God, talk about pulling the rug out. He does it, why? That hunger, nausea, pang.
Yeah.
Again, he just wanted to see what would happen.
Seems like it. A raw impulse to just poke the simulation, see the reaction. And yeah, that is the moment everything absolutely shatters.
Wow, okay. So the Earths are obviously shocked, confused. They refuse to leave the Falshi ship after that bombshell.
Right.
There's a standoff.
Right. Heated exchange. And Toku realizes this isn't going away. The anomaly isn't just data anymore. It's standing right in front of her demanding answers. So she spills the beans. Reluctantly.
The truth. The whole truth.
Pretty much, she says bluntly, yes, we made you, but it's not personal. Just cold business.
But not personal. Wow. And she explains the whole system.
Yeah. Tells them how their employers seeded this galaxy with billions of life-seeding devices. It was all a wealth creation schema.
So the answer to the Fermi Paradox isn't that life is rare. It's that life is manufactured.
Yeah.
For profit. That flips everything.
And the process she describes, it's chilling. The idea is you evolve, you develop technology, you fight.
You dig up all the good stuff. Metals, radioactive elements.
Exactly. When your civilization gets advanced enough, you fight even harder until you kill each other off.
We don't even find out you existed until after you're all dead. That's how it's supposed to work anyway. Just brutal efficiency.
Earth, humanity, countless others, created for profit, for industrial exploitation. Why? Because it's cheaper than sending machines to do it.
It's galactic scale strip mining, using sentient life as the disposable heavy machinery. And the Falshi, they see themselves as, what, janitors.
Pretty much. Toku insists we've never killed or hurt anyone. They're just observers, surveyors of the aftermath. They collect the scraps.
And there's this layer of cosmic irony. Toku mentions the Falshi themselves used to have gods, creation myths, but their science found nothing. No creator, no sign of any intelligence at the beginning, just chaos.
So their justification is kind of, the universe is meaningless chaos, therefore our potentially meaningless creation of you is fine. They explicitly state, we are not your creators in any meaningful way.
It's a massive abdication of responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah.
Denying their own role while playing God on a galactic scale, justified by a nihilistic view of the cosmos.
So how does Reynolds, the Earth guy, react to finding out humanity is basically a failed crop?
Incredibly, Reynolds processes this
Yeah.
and then proposes trade. He thinks Dorfco, their wealth accretion ideology, makes them like peers, potential business partners.
Seriously, after hearing that.
Yeah. Maybe it's denial, maybe it's just that deeply ingrained capitalist mindset, but Toku just scoffs. We don't trade with you.
Ouch! Just reinforces the message.
Totally. She adds, we don't recognize your authority to trade. And basically says they'll just wait for Earth to die so they can sell our artifacts. This is brutal, your product, end of discussion.
And Toku drives it home. Sentient races destroy themselves. It's the way of things. Our race was lucky. That's supposed to be the final word.
But Reynolds has the real final word here. He looks Toku in the eye and says, so is ours, and we will stay lucky.
Chills. That defiance. Refusing the script.
And then he adds the kicker, that promise, or maybe threat, or maybe we will come and find you.
Whoa, okay. The product is talking back and threatening the supplier. That completely upends the Falshi worldview.
Utterly. The whole mission, their understanding of the universe, their place in it shattered. It's not just harvesting anymore. It's potentially competition, or worse.
And the fallout for Jon and Toku is instant. Toku is horrified. She blames Jon first, naturally.
For sending that message, yeah. But then she blames herself. And she has this moment of clarity, or maybe despair, saying, hierarchy taints everything.
Is she talking about the Earths? Or the
Well,
Falshi? Everything.
Probably everything. Their own rigid system, the Earth Spire, Dorfco, the whole exploitative model they're part of. It's a profound realization born from this disastrous encounter. Their partnership. It's done. Over.
Toku declares they're heading straight back to Trade Station 237. But now there's this new fear haunting her. The fear that one day Trade Station 237 might have a Dorsco logo slapped on it.
The ultimate reversal. The exploited becoming the exploiter, or at least a rival power. It's the collapse of her entire reality.
So they prepare for Interdream again, broken partnership, mission failed, essentially. Jon still hopes maybe they can find a few more dead cultures on the way home, salvage something.
A final bleak thought. Their last conscious moments are filled with loneliness, failure, and that weird interdream amnesia kicking in. A really downbeat ending for our scouts.
What an incredible and incredibly unsettling deep dive that was. We've explored a universe where the Fermi Paradox isn't about silence, it's about a horrifying galactic business plan. Civilizations seeded, grown for resources, expected to self-destruct.
But the twist is powerful. What happens when one of those investments, one of those crops, refuses to fail? When it survives, adapts, and maybe even decides to write its own future? Pushes back.
It really forces you, the listener, to think, doesn't it? If your entire existence, your whole civilization's history was just part of someone else's profit scheme, what meaning does your life actually hold? What's its value?
And Toku's bitter realization, hierarchy, taints everything. If these power structures, these systems of control and exploitation are so pervasive, maybe even inherent, how can anyone, any society, truly break free? What does it even mean to be lucky, like Reynolds claims, or to forge your own destiny when the universe itself seems designed to see you only as a means to an end, something to chew on?